Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Taupō District Council meeting, which is an open meeting. Getting through it. So welcome to members of the press, members of the public, staff, deputy mayor and councillors. Wonderful to see you all today. And to start, Councillor Trewavas, giving us a blessing for the day.
Tuia ki te Māori o te whenua, tuia ki te mana o te tangata, tuia ki te pono, te aroha, kia pike, kia eke, ki te taumata, huie, tai.
Improvement. Item number one is item number two, sorry, is apologies. And we have an apology from Councillor David, who's still away on international duty. Any other apologies? Otherwise, I think all the answers received. So can I just have a little bit, please? Thank you, Councillor Williamson. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Yeah. Item number three, conflicts of interest. Any conflicts of interest pertaining to the items today, please? Right, we'll move on. And we have the item number four, confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting on the 26th of September, 2023. Any matters arising from those minutes? Any points of clarification? Councillor Shepherd.
I'm asking you raised elsewhere.
Councillor Taylor.
Just in relation to travel on bike and I'll be going to Wellington. Yes, in the minutes, some of this can be raised elsewhere.
Thank you very much. We will make that. Been moved by Councillor Lachlan and seconded by Councillor Shepherd. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. 5.1 petition. Vandalism on council reserves near Whariwaka and Lake Taupō. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Dalby, yes. Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Dalby. How are you? Nice to see you. Come forward if you'd like, please.
Not a problem at all. Would you like some water? Thank you. Thanks so much.
Very good. Thank you very much. The receipt of your petition. Thank you so much for all the time and effort that you've gone to do this for our community, and truly appreciate it. We've got the reasons and we've got something here. Is there anything you'd like to add, Mr. Dalby?
Not really. I'm particularly concerned about Whariwaka Reserve because I live there. But I've noticed many of the roundabouts and the other parks are being damaged as well by people out of control. I know it's probably a police job, but I think maybe some of the reserves can be maintained better with some help from you council people. I mean, they're in beautiful order, but they're being damaged, and that's what I'm off. I've got several suggestions. I don't know whether you've got my submission. Do I read it to you?
Yeah,
yes. Yes. I've got several photographs and things I could pass around to everybody what I'm talking about. Is that a help?
Yeah.
All right. Do it, huh?
Good.
Thank you. And maybe Kirsty as well. And there's a lot of photographs, and I've included some maps with some ideas of how I think they could be helped and barricaded off. Just like to talk to you about it, and maybe you'd like to talk to me about it. I don't know.
You could read the
reserves in the audience here, so I'm sure he'll be taking notes.
I think she read.
Councillor West, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Dolby, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I live up in botanical Waikiki area, and it happens on Toki Reserve and whatnot as well. So thank you very much for bringing this to a formal setting. And thank you for the suggestions. We like it. We're in great case. Couple of suggestions
Thank
too.
you.
I'd just like to reassure you that we've been made aware like an hour or so ago, there's actually been 4 arrests to do with the Whariwaka Reserve area. So there are things underway behind the scenes. But thank you so much.
Thank you. So we were actually part of one of those arrests. Tony was able to catch the number plate. But the trouble is a lot of it happens at night. We can't see number plates at night. So that's one of the main problems they come down when we can't identify them. Do you want me to read this out or?
No, that's fine.
You've got it. Okay.
You understand
Yes, sure.
we're making progress. I'd like to think we're making progress on it.
So,
And thank you, because it sounds like 2 of your items have led to 2 prosecutions. Councillor Greenslade.
After we received this petition, I went down and had a look because I'm based in Turangi, and I really was quite terrified. What you're saying is absolutely acceptable in terms of it being unacceptable. How many people actually signed your petition? I started to count and then I sort of gave up. It was
well, unfortunately, a lot of the people were away when I wanted to catch them, but I've got about 80.
that's a lot of
And I could still be going. They're from around Taupō, not just Whariwaka people, from around Taupō, because they're noticing the parks as well, and they're equally concerned. It's not just our area.
I could well understand that, and it's not just the residents, of course, it's people that live at the area, and it's a beautiful area. And very depressing. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Councillor Campbell.
Yes, hello. As we all know, I live near Whariwaka Point myself. But yeah, I mean, you probably agree that the last resort would be to gate it off because that in summer times particularly, well, it depends on time the gates are open or shut. But well, certainly I personally think that would be a last resort. As a potential resort, of course, you'd agree or
No, not really.
no?
Disagree.
No, disagree. I've moved on from there. That was one thought I've spoken with you before because Duncan's our neighbour. But I think perhaps some posts and bollards, posts and rails around the particular area I'm talking about, which won't confine the parking. If in my little spiel, I've written you still have parking at right angles to the lake, but it doesn't give the hoons space to whiz round and plough up the field. I have to say one of the perpetrators of the crime is the council truck who collects the rubbish just down front of us. They hoon round and
Not a council.
the rubbish truck. Shall I say the rubbish truck? And there's a great depression sort of between the park and the road, which fills with water with the slightest rain. And that gives the perpetrators extra fun to play in with their cars. And I'm suggesting that maybe that's filled in with shingle, and that could make the parking area for the picnic goers. Anyway, I've got some ideas, and I've actually made some maps with some ideas there.
Yeah, questions on the
Well, I plead guilty to that going through that puddle at least once.
Okay.
No.
Once again, thank you so much. So as an issue, we're aware of it.
Thank you.
We had the police presentation this morning, or talked to the police, they are aware of it as well. They resulting in 4 arrests. Been great. It's a lot of time putting these petitions together. So thanks once again. But we have received them.
I'm going to say
petition.
Right.
Photos going around. You mind us keeping those?
No,
that's
but Tony wants to say something.
Yeah.
just in response to my neighbour's comment, it's not that we're wanting to restrict access to the park at all, because it's a beautiful place to be. It's where people like to go and have their picnics and behave themselves. What we're trying to do is restrict it particularly at night, because it does happen at night. You can just put your ring around it at night when it happens. At present, the security people go down and lock the lavatories at night, and the extension to that park, which I would say I commend the council for doing that round the south end of the park. They've done a beautiful job of that. They shut that at night. I don't see it's too different to shutting off the rest of the park to keep those people out overnight, because they're only going to arrive at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, they can still go for swims and do everything else they want to do. You don't want to keep people out, but we just want to stop people who are misbehaving with their vehicles and ripping up the parks, because that's to everyone's detriment, I'm afraid. And I'm sure a lot of money can be spent there if we don't do something about it. It's just ongoing. I think my wife said a few well-placed posts or rocks or something else to stop them rushing around the place with their cars would be an advantage. So, but we want everyone to enjoy the park. We're not trying to shut it off at all.
A lot of people have suggested that a camera goes up and they can catch them, but they've done the damage by then. I don't think that's such a good idea. I don't want to prevent the damage being done. Anyway, thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing about that. Thank you.
So there's a recommendation there that we accept the Taupō petition. Council receives the vandalism. Council reserves the Whare Waka Taupō petition. Have a move. Thank you, Councillor Lachlan. Seconded by Councillor Greenslade. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Go. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you
so much.
5.2, renewal of district licensing committee members.
Sorry.
Hello. Kia ora koutou, everybody. We are seeking your support to reappoint the current members of the District Licensing Committee for another period of 2 years. The appointments are actually due to expire today or yesterday. Since the last appointment of the committee members, there's actually been some advice come out from central government, specifically from ALAC, around the appointment of DLC members to the committee, and the governance team and the liquor licensing team, environmental health team want to actually put a much more robust process around how we appoint those members. To do that, it's going to take us a little bit of time. So we're proposing to reappoint the current members for another period of 2 years, and then the election to that committee will fall in line with the local government elections as well, which has also been recommended. Yes, apart from Mr. Mike Knowles, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, but these are the current members. Yep, with the inclusion of Councillors Williamson and Campbell as your elected representatives on that committee.
Very good. Okay, any questions of Jess? Councillor Pye.
Thank you, Jess. You did answer my question actually about the process.
Yep.
And I'm pleased to hear that there's going to be a more robust process put in place, because it does seem to be that it's just sort of passed over a little bit. How often does the committee meet, on average?
Obviously, it depends on the need and the necessity for it. We've had, I think it's 4 in the last 12 months, 4 meetings of the committee in the last 12 months. But with the changes to the way that alcohol licensing is done, we're expecting there to be more requirement for the committee to meet more often with different objections, etc. That's we can see coming in the future. Thank you.
Nine members on the committee?
Yeah, 7 + 2.
7 + 2.
Yeah. That's exactly why we have so many members, because often we only need 4 for a quorum. So often we'll only have the 4, including Murray, who's the commissioner. Yeah.
Thanks. Obviously, you mentioned the 4 meetings in the last 12 months. This obviously else start then, like, because I haven't attended any meetings last 12 months.
So they, do you mean as in the meetings, their objections? Yeah. So Murray then gets in touch with the committee members to see who's available, and then that's how that process works. It's not done through council officers, that part of the process. You haven't heard from Murray? That's interesting. Councillor Campbell and Councillor Williamson. Okay, I'll follow that up with Murray. John? Yeah.
Thank you, Jess. And yeah, so just reappoint at the moment and then.
Yeah, for another 2 years, and then it'll fall in line with the local body elections as well in 2025.
They say aye. Yeah. Thank you. Taupō District Council performance report. December 2023. With Julie going on it.
I'm not sure it's even particular to raise in the front part of the report this month. I just want to acknowledge that we are continuing to make improvements to the report each month. You'll see some more statistical information come through in the DM updates. It's not. That does make into there are photos, large photos, I have to say, of us all. And obviously just acknowledging both acting as GM in this together with Sarah White. I'm very grateful to have Sarah back in. So happy to take questions on the first part. We'll break it up into.
Yep, any questions of Mrs. Gardine? Okay, we'll carry on. Next, first up we have Lily. You're on mute. Just on mute, Lily.
Sorry. Yeah, I knew I'd forget to do something.
Good
So can you,
afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I'm not there.
No, that's right. Want to do the finance first?
Yep, I can do the finance. So the finance report I would take as read. There's not a lot of real variances to talk about. We are up in our some of our revenue. Some of that is we've got the consents have continued at an elevated level despite we budgeted quite conservatively. But they seem to still be continuing. The revenue at our venues is up. Some of that's to do with timing with the school holidays and the swim school. Their new term starts and they start collecting the money in September. And we have high revenue at some of our other venues, the Great Lakes Centre and Owen Delaney Park. Our expenses are pretty much on budget. There's a slight saving in the wages area. But that could also be timing, of course. And just an explanation of where our changes in our budget. We've now put in the resolution from council around the Supercars event. And there is also a resolution to go in about the engineering concerns. I'm just sorry, I thought that it hadn't been released from confidence. So if it has been, those numbers should also be included, which takes basically we will have used up the total increase in the rates with that budget. And the CapEx is there, but I believe we are going to change how we report that in coming months. And I don't really have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions. One thing I will say is you will notice near the end, we've also got a TEO update just as part of the report. So far, we've transferred all our available cash in terms of our call account balances and our foreign currency balances, and our New Zealand equities have transferred. And I would say that the foreign equities will be transferring in the next week or so across to Forsyth Bar, and then it'll just be the term deposits as they fall due and mature. We will pass those across to Forsyth Bar. That's me.
Thank you, Jean. Any queries of Jeanette? Here the operating expenditures down on budget. Always pleasure to hear that, but we're going to find that way, hopefully. Well, any questions? No, thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Cool. Right, so that project, Travis and Canal, nice to see you.
Kia ora koutou. Hope we're all well today. Hey, thank you for your time, your worship, elected members and other council members. Also big thanks to Elijah, who was in my stead last month, I believe, and miraculously covered the full depth of all significant projects. So as Julie was saying, I feel that we've now got a significant projects report and a nice concise standard statement each month. I hope you'll agree. There's still some things we're doing to improve the overall report. But obviously, rather than talking through the detail of each, I'll just now discuss some of the key changes month on month. First up, you'll note that the Te Kapua playground opening went off without a hitch on the 12th of October. Because this is essentially 1 month behind the report, it shows a change to amber for time because of the delays in the opening, just to ensure the safety standards of the surface. But it was a great morning with a couple of hundred people in attendance, and just a big shout out for all of those who have been supportive along that journey. Wonderful for Turangi. The second change is obviously EUL Stage 1, Lot 20, Earthworks and Civil. That changes the budget from green to amber, which flags a possible change in the overall program cost beyond this financial year, but into the LTP year 1. District plan changes, some delays due to the comprehensive hearings process, which has resulted in time going from green to amber. But on the upside, it is noted that the panel are running a very comprehensive process there. And finally, the cab building fit out, the cost has gone from green to amber as the QS is currently reviewing the budget, but it is a multi-year budget, and it's expected to result in a possible change to the LTP budget again for this project in the next financial year. Just a small aside to note, since we don't look back over a number of projects, but there's a couple of things that have come across my desk. We've got the judges from the Keep New Zealand Beautiful visit, which I noticed Libby added into her commentary. They'll be in town later this week to look at many council components of the application, but the RTS space as part of TTCT will be a big thing, as well as covering off the Turangi projects. And just also, because I'm a little biased, the Taupō Airport Redevelopment Project won New Zealand Airports Award for Commercial and Non-Aeronautical Award for Small Airport. Next month, with Greg Hadley and Fraser Scott's support, I would like to provide more information specifically on erosion control program, so be prepared with your questions. But before I wrap up, I'm going to just hand over to Travis, who's a senior PM for the PMO. He's here today to briefly discuss the detail on Wairakei Drive and Hooker Falls Road roundabout. I know we have a few questions about those previously.
Kia ora koutou. So I'm actually not sure what's in your status report, because this, I did notice there was a risk in this project for a resource that was initially allocated to me, and then I was pulled into the engineering concerns project. But I have picked this project up in the past month. And we'll be providing an update in your next report on this, but just an overall update on it. So over the past month, we've been finalizing the design for that, for the intersection, which is the intersection of Wairakei Drive, Kerapiti Road, and Hooker Falls. So that's, for context, that's sort of the turnoff to Craters of the Moon, the Helicopter Cafe, and Wairakei Drive. So we've been finalizing the design with that and putting together all the information to go out to tender, so a procurement plan and contract documentation for the tender respondents. The plan there is going out to tender to get pricing, and Claire in conjunction is doing the application with Waka Kotahi, as this is part of their Road to Zero program, so the co-funding with that. I would anticipate this project goes out to tender in the next 2 weeks. And the only other thing to note is we have sent out an email to the businesses in the area, letting them know that there is this potential work coming up. We've actually had quite a few replies, just thanks from those businesses to give them the heads up that this work might be going ahead. And we'll continue to communicate with those people as things progress. Well, at this stage, we have it will be in the new year. The tender process construction companies will have their own methodology as to how they do it. So it's difficult to come up with a program until you get those tender responses, and nothing will start until the new year. And then we'll have to work with obviously our event schedule as we normally do. I've done a survey of the area, and due to some access required on Karapiti Road, it isn't possible to do a full shutdown of that intersection with detours, which is generally the fastest way to construct something. But we do have a deadline of this financial year that's tied with the Waka Kotahi funding. So there is some services work that we've already engaged Unison and Chorus to do, because those tend to be our long lead time items, and we're sort of we need them to do services. Services is generally the first work that you do. So some of that work may be happening prior to any contract being awarded, just so there's no delays waiting for the lead times of those companies.
Good chair. With regards to the project, do we undertake geotech work and whatnot? I am aware that there are some geothermal issues further down Wairiki Drive.
I don't believe there's been any geotech work done for that in particular, because it is roading work. I mean, I'm a little bit out of my depth with engineering there, but we tend to do geotech when we're putting stuff in the ground or building up.
Just through the chair, sorry, Andrew, to thank you, but just for a longevity perspective, I just hope that I fully expect that would be taken into account.
Through the chair, if I can add that, absolutely right. For vertical construction like this, we wouldn't horizontal construction, we wouldn't normally do geotech work. What we will do when we do the services diversions is try and observe any subsidence or change in settlement. And if that gives us an alert that we need to do some more substructure work, then we will undertake that work at that time.
This is not about Wairiki Drive, but the first item, cannot drinking standards. At our technology meeting last week, someone had already seen the agenda, and the advice that the staff gave at that meeting that everything was on track for that, but they're red on here in terms of timing, and we couldn't give an explanation why we've been told it's all fine and under control, and then we have a red on the timing. Can I just have an explanation so I can give it to them?
Sure. I'll start off and then I'll hand over to Andrew through the chair. Thank you for your question. This is essentially a program of work. It is not just one water treatment plant. There's a piece of work that's well on time and that has just been completed, and that is the pipe renewals work out there. But the drinking water standards, the water treatment plant itself is essentially experiencing challenges regarding the geotech because of the location and some of the historical details pertaining to that land. There's been additional geotech that has caused delays, and that is the remaining part of the program that's still to be delivered. But I'll defer to Andrew should he wish to add any further information.
But the only thing I'll add is to address your questions about discrepancy. So I believe the Kinloch community have been advised that the original timeframe of the project has faced these challenges from geotech work. And as a result of that, their revised expectations are on track to be met. At this forum, we're reporting against the original strict baseline of the program, just for fairness and transparency at a governance level. And that's why sometimes you might see a discrepancy between the two, but it's a very valid question, and that's the reason.
Thank you very much for that explanation. I shall pass it on. Thank you.
Very good. Off to the chair. Yes, Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, just a question / comment. Wairiki roundabout. Is grass, concrete in the middle, near Central Island? What's the plan?
Without having the design directly in front of me, I would anticipate that it would most likely be concrete in the middle. Whenever we tend to, when we build roundabouts, we try not to build them with any areas required to mow, especially on busy areas, because it just increases maintenance costs and health and safety issues associated with it.
No, and so that's the question, and then the comment is something like that. It's a fairly reasonably large thing in the middle, rather than a swathe of concrete. I mean, this can always happen after the fact. These places are opportunities for artworks or gateway treatments or whatever. Saying, yeah, done elsewhere. It doesn't have to be a land concrete, nothing.
I might jump in and say, Travis, yeah, you're right. Having looked at the design, it is concrete through and primarily for maintenance reasons. To address Councillor Campbell's question, at the moment it's been funded as a transport project, so we haven't included any funding for other embellishments. It's possible, of course, in the future for council to allocate that space and other funds to other activations in that area, but at this point it's being viewed as a transport project. It's restricted to transport.
We were sort of conjured up a few thoughts in my mind actually. I think that's what we can put there. Anyway, go on about the board. Okay, thank you, Trevi. Nothing else to report. You know, obviously just mentioned the time frame and nature of being staple. You know, we can sneak it on the outside. You know, like I normally wouldn't say this. You know, delay it till after, but you've got a bit of yeah. So hopefully, and you're working with the events team, which is great. Right, anything else? No other questions? Thank you. Thank you very much, Dylan. That's it. Nothing further there, CEO. You want to move that? Thanks for moving. Yeah. Yeah, Councillor Shepherd, second. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carry. Right, moving on, members' reports. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. Firstly, I'd just like to thank my colleagues on behalf of myself and Councillor Shepherd, I'm sure, for the unanimous report for us to attend very conferences in Suto, China, recently, and it was a privilege to do that on your behalf, Your Worship. It was a 30-hour trip, and once we hit the ground in China, we were completely funded by the municipal government of Suzhou. Within a couple of hours of landing on the ground, we were out for dinner with the Vice Director of Suzhou Foreign Affairs Office, Mr. Hong and Jet, who were absolutely fantastic once they found out about how long we'd actually been there and how long it had taken to get there. They pretty much relieved us of being at dinner. On the Sunday, we were really lucky to go and visit a province which was renowned for its tea culture, which was really amazing. And we visited a tea professional cooperative. The afternoon we spent in some museums, but I'll let Councillor Shepherd speak to those as it's her portfolio areas. The second evening, we attended a VIP leaders dinner in which Rachel and I were sat at the front table, which was quite impressive to say the least. We also got to meet the mayor in the VIP room, and we were quite out of the ordinary being an all-female delegation. I thank Jackie in the mayor's office for her support in the trip. But we managed to bust in amongst the boys and have a photo with the mayor, just so that it was recorded. So that was quite a lovely dinner. Wonderful hosts. It's all very formal, lots of amazing local produce, and out the door quite early. The next morning we attended the opening ceremony of the 29th ITS for Congress. IT stands for Intelligent Transport Systems. And it was actually mind-blowing. I think we're quite lucky that we're such a small sister city of Suzhou. The only other one smaller than us was Reza in Germany, because by the time we get to some of the intelligent solutions for transport and AI, we'll be able to learn a lot from those bigger places that have gone before us. That afternoon, we went to the Suzhou Industrial Park, which was absolutely mind-blowing. What they do in the biomedical world, and as far as economy and innovation is outstanding. In Suzhou, they call it the pants. It's the municipal government building, which looks like it's sort of like an archway, which looks like a pair of jeans, trousers, but it's actually an archway between the old traditional Suzhou and the new district of Suzhou. So the blend of an ancient city versus a modern city was quite spectacular, and how they bring their culture and the future together was quite mind-blowing. That afternoon, again, I'll leave it to Councillor Shepherd to talk about sports visit. That night we had dinner with we thought we would have a free night, but we ended up being hustled into another private dining room for dinner with Romanian delegation, which was quite interesting. But some other people in there. On the Tuesday, we were escorted by Mr. Toe from the Foreign Affairs Office, and we went and visited the northern section of the Suzhou Library. And I mean, to be a part of a section of a library, and it was just outstanding, like just the room full of music albums and everything itself was amazing. But I've also shared with Councillor Trewavas, they had some really amazing facilities for people who are disadvantaged through mobility or mental blocks. So yeah, everyone was catered for. It was amazing, and I can't remember, 6 million books. Was it 6 million? More, masses and masses of books. We then went to museum, which again I'll let Councillor Shepherd speak to. We then visited the Humble Administrator's Garden, which is one of the most amazing gardens in Suzhou, and they've got so many amazing gardens, but in that was a carved mansion, which from the outside looked like a bland wooden black building, but this man who was very successful built this house for his mother, and it was inside, it was just the most spectacular thing you've ever seen, and everything had a purpose, like even the keyholes on the door down to the locks that you close doors with, to the entrance way, to how high you step over to get into the house, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. And New Zealand seems like 5 minutes old compared to the likes of Suzhou and the rest of China. We then had lunch at a very authentic Chinese restaurant, but yeah, it wasn't as scary as it looked aesthetically, but the food was nice. We then went and visited St. Patrick's School's sister school, Suzhou No. 1 High School. We had a great time there. We got to sit in on a calligraphy class and have a wee go. We got a little tour around the school before we were treated to some performances by the students. We passed on some gifts from St. Patrick's School, which we took with us, and some Taupō Manuka honey treats. And we brought back with us some lovely prints of the school. So I'm going to be gifting mine to St. Patrick's School, which I'll organise through a corner visit to go and hand that over. So I think it's maybe appropriate that they hang that there. On the Wednesday, look, only a few days into it, we visited basically a vehicle industry demonstration zone. It was all about technology, AI, subway and tram systems and whatnot, which was a little bit out of our depth, but to see what the future holds in that space, because including and use flying cars, really interesting. We then, in the afternoon, we had 3 different lanyards. We had to keep asking our guide, which lanyard is it? For the different things. We attended the a forum at the International Conference of Green and Innovation-Driven Development in Cities and Towns, and that was really fascinating as well. And that night we went to a welcome dinner where we were very pleased to speak English with a couple of other Kiwis who were there on behalf of the China New Zealand Friendship Society, and someone from Downers and Regenerate from Auckland City Council. So that was good. On the Thursday was the Mayoral Roundtable, which I got to represent the worship at. And yeah, that was quite a it was a wonderful opportunity, but quite daunting to walk in and see that you're sitting around this table with Lord Mayors and whatnot. But to be able to speak on behalf of Taupō about how amazing we are and the different GDP contributors we have and whatnot was well received, and yeah, it was an absolute privilege to be able to do that. That afternoon we went to the 5th Global Intelligent Driving Summit, where again I got to represent Taupō, but probably New Zealand, with some other people from different countries on the stage and a countdown and setting that off, which was quite different. On the Friday morning, oh, that's when we went to the training group and whatnot. Sorry, I skipped. And I'll let Rachel talk about the embroidery. We visited, we were on a tour bus with other countries, and we went to the Taihu Lake Wetland Park, which was really amazing. And Jax from the Mayor's office, she's got this infatuation with pandas, which came up a few times, but I believe that Jackie's highlight was probably that we got to meet a couple of pandas in the wetland who were at a sanctuary, and so that was pretty special and very unexpected. So when we thought that the next day couldn't top the day before, the days just keep getting better. So it was amazing. That afternoon we went to Nanjing University, to the Suzhou campus, which is home to it is a stunning facility, and they have about 20,000 students. So, and 12 of those are domestic and 8 international, roughly. So that was an amazing facility, and like all things, they build things and they build them really well. And then literally we got to have some free time, so we got to go and spend some time in amongst grassroots Chinese people, which was really lovely. And then we spent 30 hours being home. But just really, really grateful for the opportunity. I've got loads of stuff here, which so I'm happy to talk to anyone about anything offline. But if anyone's got any questions after councillors, you can fill in the blanks. Happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. That's the chance.
Yeah, surprisingly, I do have a bit to add. It sounds like there was so much. This was a very, very full itinerary, and I'm glad for it, because we got very well looked after. The attention to detail was just incredible, and we were really lucky to experience a lot of art, culture, heritage, and I did put in a request to go to the Olympic Stadium as well, so we got to visit there. Yeah, so the Monday's pretty well covered, just straight to dinner and straight to bed. Quite frankly, it was a long Friday that seemed to go on for about, I don't know, 36 hours or so. But yes, we went to the Tea Culture Museum and understood how the tea cooperative grow and harvest and then package their tea. We sampled some tea, and I'll tell you, it is entirely different to what we have over here. It's incredible. They even plant fruit trees to infuse with the tea trees to get the flavour. So really amazing. Here's the card building as well. It's really quite something. And where else we go? Oh yes, the card building. Yeah, that was amazing. And the peony, the symbolism of the carvings. Now I couldn't help but see some parallels here with what Māori culture is, with the meanings behind their carvings. You know, they're so important, and their mothers being so precious. Peonies for women, for mothers, and phoenix for strength, and it was just everywhere in the carved house, and I was quite blown away by it. We then in the afternoon visited the Suzhou Art Museum, and we were quite the novelty there. It was quite interesting to see a lot of young people there. That's their idea of fun in the Suzhou. So teenagers hang out at the art museum, and to see three international visitors was obviously quite new to them. So we felt like celebrities. Photo ticket. Oh my God, where are you from? My English is not very good, but it actually was. We also went to the Silk Museum, and that was really quite incredible. We were viewing silk artifacts that were thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, and they still exist. So not only did we see the silkworms and learn the process of making the silk, which in itself was quite an amazing feat, and you consider they were doing that 6,000 years ago, but to see some of it has survived this long was absolutely incredible. And again, very well looked after and hosted their dinner in the ITS Congress. Lots of parts covered. So we're the Olympic Sports Centre. My goodness. So the stadium we walked into can seat 45,000 people. So every member of our district could sit down and watch a football game if they wanted to in that stadium. The landscaping around that was amazing. There was a whole nother, I guess, like our event centre for indoor sporting events or concerts and the like, and that has 10,000 permanent seats and another 3,000 that they can roll out. And they were rolling out all 13,000 for a badminton tournament to take place that weekend. And when I asked how long it took to build, it was, and I don't think I can express the scale of these buildings. 4 years it took. Now that's unbelievable to me. It was so quick to go up. $6 billion later, and I asked what they would do differently if they were to do it again. And they said they would include more seats in the internal theatre because badminton's really, really popular. So that was incredible. Yes, the northern section of Suzhou Library, another highlight. The buildings, the architecture, the offerings within just the northern section of the Suzhou Library was really quite incredible. It's all AI. So they still had librarians putting the books on shelves, but every other aspect is automated and is AI. In the library, there was an exhibition of Mr. Pei, who is a very famous architect from Suzhou, and his works, which include the Louvre in Paris. We then went on to Suzhou Museum, which he architecturally designed. So it was quite a good follow-on from the library and that exhibition to Suzhou Museum. And again, we're looking at artifacts that are 10,000 years old, and it really did make me reflect a little bit on how young New Zealand is and how lucky they are to have such a long and rich history and to celebrate that. The Suzhou Education Museum was another highlight, where education began with Confucius and the story and the history behind that. Wasn't sure how much I would enjoy that. I thought, oh, okay, an education museum, how interesting can it be? But it was honestly one of the highlights. Understanding how advanced they were in their thinking about the need to educate, not just in the intellectual sense, but also in the practical sense. And, agriculture and all of that was embraced, and the need to ensure that everybody was educated that needed to be all those years ago. So very forward thinking, and definitely, the long game for Chinese history. And I think that's about that. Oh no, the museum, the Kiln Brick Museum. So having been to the school and having had a go at a little bit of calligraphy, we were also introduced to the golden bricks at the Education Museum when they practice their calligraphy. Because it takes a lot of practice. All the strokes have to be exact, they have to be in the right order, otherwise they can mean something completely different. So that because paper and parchment was so expensive, they used to practice their calligraphy on stone with water. And so we saw one of these stones and had a little go at the Education Museum, and then we went to the Imperial Kiln Brick Museum and understood that it took something like 200 years to make these bricks. And I'm thinking, wow, that's still a better option than paper. Interesting. So that was really amazing. And I think that might just about, oh yes, of course, the embroidery art museum. So having been to the Silk Museum and seeing how the silk was made and that sort of thing, they also use silk to embroider. And I guess a particular highlight for me was seeing the Mona Lisa and a couple of other very famous paintings that looked exactly like paintings, but were in fact embroidery. And taking teams of people over many years to complete. So yeah, look, it was just an incredible experience. I'm very grateful that I was given the opportunity to go. And we certainly made our appreciation and thanks known to the Sujo because we were very, very well looked after.
Thank you. Actually, you have the report from Adam and Rachel on dismayed as the agricultural portfolio lead. I didn't take up the opportunity to go. Go, so it was actually more too. Thank you very much for that.
We did take a lot of photos, so we'll give a slideshow together so that you can see what a few glimpses of what we saw.
Oh, sorry, this week here, I've just selected the countries represented for China, Portugal, Vietnam, Malta, New Zealand, Malaysia, Japan, USA, Australia, several cities from Italy and Portugal, Helena, Chile, and also a delegation from India. And Romania. I forgot Romania. How could I forget that?
Very good. Well, thank you, Anna and Rachel, and thinking that on my behalf. It's really appreciated. Thank you, Jackie, from my office to go too, because I know I've done it several times before, but it's quite arduous. But the Chinese is wonderful, wonderful host, and as you say, things looked after. Well done, and thank you for your extensive, comprehensive report. Let's see if there's something. Cool. Okay, moving on, we have Christine, economic and business.
I feel sorry about anything to report, as you know, I'm away on an off-site and anything to report.
No problems. Rachel, have you got anything on the sport and recreation at all?
Oh, just a wee bit. I attended the Sports Advisory Council meeting on the 11th of October, just before heading off, and I will be at the Sports Conference on Friday as well. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Cullen, anything on this technology?
Just wanted to congratulate everyone on the hard work for the opening of the Te Papamārearea in Turangi. It was a great turnout, and my 6-year-old has been working the playground really well over the last few weeks. So it's definitely helped as a parent. So nui te mihi. I also had the opportunity to attend the opening of the 5 affordable rental homes as a part of the He Wakainga housing strategy down Iwiheke Place in Turangi, which was awesome. Was privileged enough to join in on the Mangakino-Pouakani hui this time around too, which was nice. Was also part of the Love Taupō brand review panel and obviously distribution of the community grants in Turangi. So it's been a relatively busy week, busy month, I should say. Also yesterday attended the youth development hui. And they've got their last hui scheduled for November of this year, which would be great. Some great turnouts and some wonderful sharing sessions within our youth development hui for the Taupō community. So, good to me.
Anything from you, age and disability?
Yeah, just wanted to say in Mangakino they're doing a lot of letdowns coming from the footpaths onto the road, but I don't think we've had them before. So it's just we've kind of had some steel plates, but these are actual forming of concrete. Yeah, so it's that's looking really good and give they've obviously cleaned certain routes around, to make it accessible for people to access the lake in Uptown. So yeah, that was really good to see.
Cool. Thanks, Sophie. Agriculture. So this is a difference of next place, then goals local where local community. So on the 20th, I went to an art exhibition at the museum, which is open till December the 3rd, Turangi Artworks Group. Then and now, which the group's been going for 40 years, and membership of 47, so it's very interesting, obviously, the range of the Asian people itself and what's happened in the past and currently. So Andrew probably all that as well with the group. And also Friends Who Paint, Sweeney O'Callaghan and the Maggie Road.
collaboration of 18 months with the equipment range of the past. So certain rules we're going down for visit now until now December 3rd. And create a Taupō at a strategic session on Saturday. Unfortunately, it's unavailable. It's also in Wellington. Yeah, so we catch up with Holly West about it was actually the agenda was actually around the TDC Arts and Culture Plan. Yeah, just to see. So other than the 15th, I attended the Taupō for review the board meeting, discussed any of these concepts, but Christmas with bunch of restart and things like so this one voluntarily. Discuss next year's enrollment process with the CSF. Probably need to mention a few projects before music. One lucky guy to mention my daughter was not one claim three tops, but there's a few others like to inspire the board, or as many others projects for Limino out the school of music, Taupo College, college. Also, the performing running jazz festival, which awarded the Afro jazz competition. The master pre-production of the album that we did last year. Being the dream, we got Spotify. The album is quite dreams may come to play for you as well, so very possibly very cool to recover this. And that's connected to the portfolio, but here the tree planting, the total placing the recognition rather than I believe also Council Western's mother Dorothy planning the site. We just go where we are now, so there's a kind of a fun tree commemoration of the event. So I see that along with my daughter, I think so it's a very humbling experience. Of the place in Taupo.
Yeah, it's top here. Yeah, top.
Thank you, Phil.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Next up we have environment. Daniel.
Good evening, Bishop. Not a lot to report. I attended a strategic planning workshop at Green in Taupo, and I think we're doing some good work there in terms of planning for the future. And then we've got a senior leadership group meeting Thursday week. I think I enjoyed Hemlock Market Day.
Good, thank you, Danny. Kevin, anything from community safety?
Yes, a couple of things, Your Worship, and just leveraging off the briefing we received earlier today from police and acknowledge the work they do in this district and in this town, and reflecting on the comment that relative to other parts of the country, we're pretty well off. However, when you are the victim of crime, it does have an impact, irrespective of it's not as bad as elsewhere, it's still bad for individuals. So on that note, Councillor Rankin and I met with one of the accommodation providers who's been getting hit rather frequently with cars being broken into and stolen, and we've got so coming plan. We have some options available to help address that issue. I've spoken to police and to others who can work on that. The other thing is in relation to the transportation portfolio. I have a meeting next Friday in Hamilton on the regional land transport plan. So I'll brief councillors on that after I've attended that next week. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Councillor Farner. Emma, and then we need to everything.
Mr. Worship, before earlier this month, I had a couple of Teams meetings with a subgroup of the Joint Committee and the Chief Executive Group on working on a draft for the Emergency Management Bill submission, which I joined on the 3rd of November to the non-existent Government and Administration Select Committee at the moment. I also had the pleasure of being able to go out and say hi to all the field defence emergency management professionals at Corporate Lounge, Odie Park. So I welcome them all to the most beautiful part of the Waikato and the most seismically dodgy council facility. But that was great to actually meet them all in person and have a chat with them. Yesterday I was in Hamilton attending the Civil Defence Joint Committee, where we had a moment of silence for Councillor Hugh Burko, who was involved with local and regional government for 30 years and former chair of the Civil Defence Group. And we passed the emergency management submission. I would have, if time limits weren't so constrained, I'd be keen for Taupō District to put one in as well. But the previous staff did that already, so that's great. Thank you. Thanks, George, and for you being a part of that subgroup working on the we'll be totally across that. But yeah, so that's all. Thank you.
If I could jump in there, just echo Councillor Park's comments regarding Councillor Hugh Verco, who was also chair for some considerable time of the Waikato Regional Transport Committee. Just to acknowledge his practice as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, through the chair, he was the mayor of Mangakino-Pouakani for a number of years before joining Regional Council. But yeah, was chair of Regional Transport and Facility for a number of years.
Family.
Through the chair, Kevin, can you get, when you go to your regional land transport meeting next week, can you get them to reimburse me for the car washes for State Highway 1 concrete dust? Shocking roads.
Community services, Moira House, Councillor Yvonne, and Councillor Bay resident.
First up, it's great to have our new patrol course. If you're looking forward and you want to play, it's open and free to everyone up behind the museum, and very political group of folk they are too. They'd like to play patrol. I attended the Mangakino meeting, which was well attended by public and folk from afar. And my other 4 portfolio meetings just happen to be over next week, so nothing to notice this year.
Okay, thanks, Yvonne. Councillor Duncan and Sandra. Let's go first.
Oh, yes, Your Worship. Just 2 things. One to add to the sport portfolio. Ski season was bumper this year, commenting. I think this is worth paying close attention to the negotiations. The future of that place. We are a shareholder, I think you can call it, investor. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I mean, I've heard anecdotally it's said to generate 100 million in the district. So whether we thought it was a lost leader, we don't want it to fail. So worth paying close attention to in the next year anyway. And second thing, I'll just add to the arts portfolio, if you like. I prepared a free poem. I've called it Ode to the Ratepayer. What?
Members report.
It's in addition to the arts portfolio.
You're not an email that the Parliament. I don't think it's part of the members report. Subject one. So I prefer to probably review for that and perhaps email to the councillors.
Up to you, Your Worship. Up to you.
Thank you. Councillor Sandra.
Thank you, Your Worship. Always busy down in the ring.
Yeah.
Along with Councillor Fletcher, I attended a number of things in the district. I was at the Turangi Community Response Plan meeting, which is being held currently through the district for our civil defence. Along with Councillor Taylor, I attended the Maori Trust meeting in Te Kuiti, held for stakeholders. I'm actually a Maori Trust trustee, but then Councillor Taylor attended as a representative of the Taupō District Council. The Maori Trust insulates homes and provides heat pumps for free to eligible homeowners in the Mangakino and Turangi districts. And we have done some hundreds of homes across the district and hope to do many, many more. That was a very well attended stakeholders meeting. I also attended the Turangi Sports Awards and presented prizes to some of Turangi's finest kids. Amazing kids in our district involved in sport, some of them going to world championships and really, really outstanding. And our speaker was Lisa Ellis, who in herself is an outstanding woman. Along with Councillor Fletcher, we did the Turangi-Tongariro community grant distribution. We had $65,000 available and we had 140,000 in applicants. So that was a tough call for us because everybody's doing great stuff in the space. Again, with Councillor Fletcher, I went to the opening of the Melbourne Farm Hall homes into the place being built by the Turangi-Tongariro Settlement Trust. The arts group was opened at the museum. The new playground is getting heaps of use. Absolutely fabulous. Everybody's absolutely loving that. Just a reminder to the community that the Turangi Co-Governance Committee meets tomorrow. We will have a workshop at 9:30 and then a meeting after that, and that is open to any members of the public or certainly any councillors who would like to attend that. And then on the 9th of November, I will be attending on behalf of Taupō District Council the Beautiful Town and Beautiful Small Town Awards in Wellington, and I'm sure we'll do well because they're so lovely. And outside of that, everything is going very well down here. The place looks lovely. Everybody's very happy. Andrew's got his erosion organised out. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention. Yes, the Omori Kura Tower district concentrating very much at present on gathering submissions and ideas for the waste minimisation project that is going ahead in council at present. I have been responding to quite a few emails from people and telling them that we are listening and we'll be open for submissions in the future.
Thank you. Several same people, but yeah.
Responding to all of them, and I've had a little bit of email back from them, and it's really great that it's other people in the district interested in what's going on with council. Great response.
Anyway, okay.
This one, I know this was acknowledged a fortnight ago. I just want to re-acknowledge it. The past a very good friend of mine, one of the long list of here, 2.5 weeks ago. Up the record stage, a lot of friend of mine as well. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, okay, so just a quick update from me. I was very lucky to be invited to the Supercars weekend in the Gold Coast, which myself, Andrew and Steve Jobs. Amazing event. Can't tell you how sort of big it was. Huge event. Corporate and also the GAs. Everybody enjoying it, from mum and dad Australians, big kids, to high net worth individuals, and what's the word for it? Logan, lots of things. You'll hear the noise of Turangi, I can assure you, Sandra. So fantastic event, and what a wonderful organisation the Supercars organisation. Very, Supercars organisation are very professional. Concentrate on detail, very exceptional. But everyone, but I will do a written report on that. And I was very lucky to have an audience with the deputy mayor actually, for the coach Donna, and also the president of Hungary. There we go. That one, but she wants to do a state visit here next year. Community awards that are very kindly organised by Jackie and Corn in my office. We acknowledged several members of the community from all parts of the district, which are wonderful and very well received. The Age Concerned Morning Tea, along with Councillor Taylor. You qualified.
As a guest, not a member, thank you.
Following on the meeting with the political leaders, David Seymour and Winston Peters, prior to the election.
Not together, obviously.
No, not together. They might be together shortly. Te Kapua, opening was fantastic. Conducting Turangi. Councillors and people involved with that complex down there. Iwi leaders, Mary and Ms. Hui, myself and Julie attended on this Friday, wasn't it? Yeah, which was quite well attended and quite lengthy. Now, Maritary School, Agricultural Day, fantastic school. One of the favourite visits. We're actually the fat lambs. Yeah, so that's just amongst the little activities of this month. So thank you very much. Right, someone else got anything to report? Move on then. So we have a resolution there. Move that, John. Thank you very much. See the updates. Moved by Councillor Williamson, seconded by Councillor Fletcher. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Right, council engagements, appointments and training conference opportunities, November 23. Karen. Karen.
Just to note that the workshop for the long-term plan for Thursday, the 2nd of November has been cancelled. And that you have on the 21st of November, there are now DGLT interviews scheduled 10:15 to 11:15. And that the Water and Recreation Reserve Management and Committee meeting location has been confirmed, and it's at the Moswaka Shinkarimoshi. And that's it from me. Julie, I think you had a update.
We've just got two things to note in the section related to training and conference opportunities, or just travel. Or generally, just myself and the Deputy Mayor are in Wellington Thursday and Friday this week. Future of local government and the will of provincial agents. So that needs to be a resolution added to this paper. And also just noting that the Deputy Mayor is noted as attending the New Zealand Beautiful Awards, and that was a change in the last month, so it will be Sunday Breeze, the Council Breeze, apologies, that will be attending. So those are just two notes.
Just through the chair, can I just ask, on the Tuesday the 16th of November, there's a long-term plan workshop set down for half an hour, is that correct?
No. Yeah, I think I will just check that with Kendra from the policy team. A lot of those workshops put in ages ago, just sort of as placeholders. So I will give that an update. Sorry, thank you.
Half an hour sounds good.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll zoom it.
Moved by Councillor Park, I have a second. Thank you, Councillor Loughlin. Yeah. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Very good. Thank you. We'll move into confidence now. Moved by Councillor Park for the reasons outlined. Right, second, please. Thank you, Councillor Campbell. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against,